Good evening, everybody, and also hello to you all, wherever you're listening and whenever you're listening. My name is Spencer, and with me I have,
This is Seigen. Hello out there.
and we are doing a little show called Board Games Are Fun.
Yes,
This
they
is
are.
this is a podcast where we talk about all things board games and just some various reasons why we think they're fun. Everything that we talk about highlights just the awesomeness and the funness that board games are.
What a thrill ride.
Yep. So if you are a repeat viewer, listeners, I'll get to you here in a second. Viewers, you'll notice that we've got some new graphics going on, and so I'm proud of those. So it's not just a split screen of us from our direct from our podcasting platform, which I should probably start recording on that, shouldn't I?
I just was curious. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh gosh, every time it happens every time. All right, so here's what will be fun is we're gonna start. We're gonna keep streaming. It's fine because it's live. That's what happens.
Right.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and start the record. There we go. Now we're actually recording
Okay.
for our listeners at home. So here we go.
All right.
Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Board Games Are Fun, a podcast where we talk about board games and how much fun they are. My name is Spencer.
And I am Seigen. Hello out there.
Whoa, buddy, you're a little too excited. You're coming in a little hot.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah, we are here to talk about board games, and what's exciting about this show is we record it for you, listening as a podcast, but we also stream it live, so we have some viewers watch and interact with us as we record.
Hello to
And
the folks
yeah,
at home.
hello to you all. And so today we've got a great show lined up for you. We're going to talk about some games we've played recently. We are going to play a game, an improv game. We've got a couple of fun topics to discuss, and then we will wish you a very happy holiday season before we break for the or end of the show, however you want to call it. All right, how have you been, man?
Oh man, I can't complain. Christmas time is always a great time of year. What about you?
Well, I could say that that's the same thing. That Christmas time is always a great time of the year. Um, but yeah, I mean, can't complain about too much. Uh, but what I love about this time of year is it's so exciting for me because I just want to open presents. I love presents. I
Yes,
will
the
never
best.
get tired of opening presents, and I will never stop asking for basically toys till I grow old.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about that the other day, and I know we're a board game podcast, but one quick sidebar.
Yeah,
Gemma is almost 3 now,
your
and
daughter. Yeah,
so I was thinking about that the other day. Like we start so young with opening presents, and just how fun it is just watching her do it, and so you just never lose that joy. When it comes around. It's always something fun to do, and one of the best parts of the holiday.
yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest. I mean, I'm more about. I mean, as however you want to take this, I'm more about the receiving than the giving. So
It's okay. And There
at least I'm honest about it.
and a lot of the universes out there is in the same spot.
That is true. All right, well, let's get right into it. Let's talk about some games that we've played lately. Not only the games, but just kind of how the experience overall went. So the first game I want to talk about is, well, what I've been doing is I'm trying to prepare for my end of the year top 10 video of all the games that have been released the year. And so I'm trying to play a lot, as much as I can get my hands on from 2020. And this one I just kind of stumbled across and I didn't know really anything about it, but the theme intrigued me and the mechanisms intrigued me. And this game is called Chiseled. And the idea is you are a sculptor, and you have a deck of cards that have different parts of like a sculpture, you've got your sculpture of a guy, and you have like arms in there, you've got body torsos, and you've got heads,
Okay.
but you also have a bunch of junk in there. So the idea is you're chiseling away at your deck to keep only the good stuff, and you'll score those at the end of the game.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's like a reverse deck builder. Instead of adding cards to your deck, you're just trying to get rid of as many of the bad cards as you can.
Interesting.
And there are some win conditions of if you have this many type of card, you get extra points, or some of the scoring for the different types of body parts. Like if you have two, like a pair or like an even number of arms, you get points. But if you have an odd number of arms, you don't get any points because who has, three arms?
Right. Right.
Um, and then heads are just good. So the more heads you have, the better.
Okay.
And then your torso, you get like you want five. At five, you get the most points, and then higher or lower than that, you start to lose fewer and fewer points. And then any junk left over in your deck, you lose 3 points. So you like use this shared set of tools. It's real interesting. It's on your turn. You flip over a card that has a tool. They chip away at your deck in a certain way. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Like it's an interesting idea overall, and I can't say that I had a blast doing it. I think there's a little bit more under the surface that I'm not seeing that I'll experience on fewer plays. But as far as like recommending it, I can't recommend it yet.
Mm.
But it was interesting.
Yeah. Huh.
So that was Chiseled.
Okay. So one for me that I did recently, my my friend came home with Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, which I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
I wonder if this is gonna be different than Betrayal at House on the Hill. And it became very apparent to me why he got it pretty quickly. We are a D&D centric group. That's what we do. Uh, one day a week for sure, and then we spend another day of the week playing board games. So we kind of try to balance it out a little bit. But he was like, "Well, I want to try this out because it's a D&D theme." Like and so like every card we were laying down, they were like, "Oh yeah, I know that place. Oh yeah, I know that place." And I'm the board gamer of the group, and they are more of the D&D centric members of the group. So it was definitely interesting to look at it through that lens.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoyed it. I mean, it really isn't too much different than Betrayal at House on the Hill. I mean, besides the fact that it's a different theme and that your locations are different, things like that, different kinds of cards, different kinds of scenarios that you're facing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but other than that, it's not too much different. But I mean, I've always really enjoyed Betrayal at House on the Hill, so I definitely enjoyed Baldur's Gate as well, and they all ate it up because of
Mm-hmm.
the D&D theming. So it was worth it just to watch that.
Did you know about the Scooby Doo version?
No.
Yeah. No. There's a legit Scooby Doo version. Um, it's definitely more family oriented.
Uh-huh.
And it's like when it gets to the part of the haunt, you get to choose who the traitor is. So it's not like, it's not sprung on. Like, say you're playing with your 8-year-old, it's not sprung on your 8-year-old. If the parents want to end up being the traitor, they can.
I got you.
But it's kid friendly, and I want to take a look at it. Emma might be old enough for it, so.
Yeah.
But cool. I'm glad they liked it, and maybe they could, after getting used to that one. Do you have regular betrayal?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so they could give that a try.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to definitely put it to the table next just to see what they think of it.
Cool. All right. Next for me, another video that I'm going to do. I recently did my top 10 co-op games video. So if you want to see what my top 10 cooperative games are, check it out at Lighten Up Initiative on YouTube. But one of them, I talk about Pandemic, and I talk about how if I put them individually, that cooperative games list would be real, it'd be full of pandemics because they take up a lot of the spots. So I put them all collectively, but it gave me the idea that I wanted to do a top 10, like ranking all of the pandemics.
Oh, okay.
Every single one, which means there were 3 that I did not own or had not played. And so I went out. Madness, our game store, has their buy 2 get 1 free sale.
What a great game store.
Yeah, and it was perfect. I needed 3, so I bought 2 and I got 1 free.
Nice.
So that includes Pandemic, Fall of Rome,
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic Rapid Response, and
Okay.
Pandemic hot zone North America.
Mm.
So I want to talk about Fall of Rome.
Oh, I'm
Um,
excited to hear about
yeah.
this one.
So this one's really interesting.
Okay.
Um, if I were to compare it, I'd say the one it's most like is Rising Tide.
Oh, and I like
Um,
that one a lot.
yeah. So what happens is um, you have five different factions of barbarians. They're trying to invade the various cities, and of course, those are like your diseases. Um, and what you're doing, the way you cure a faction of barbarians is you get your cards like normal, but instead of going to some like a location like a what are those things called, treatment centers or whatever,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
you just have to be in a space with a cube of that faction and then play all of your cards, like all your five of your cards or whatever. And then so that's interesting. But the most interesting thing about it is like what is equivalent of the treat action to remove a cube from your spot.
Hmm.
Instead of just doing that, it's thematic. You can't just as a person remove a barbarian. That's hard. So you have these legions that you make, like these legions of soldiers that go along with you. You can carry them along with you, and they are going to battle these things, and so you actually have to roll dice to remove the cubes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so you roll a
Nice.
die for each legion that you have with you, up to a maximum of three. And the dice faces are like it'll either be a complete success where it removes a cube. Sometimes it'll be you remove the legion without removing any of the cubes. Some will be like remove two cubes but one legion. So it's really interesting. It adds a little bit element of luck in there, and a little bit more of a challenge. Like it's not impossible, but I like that unique, freshness of it. It's got a unique. The thing that reason why I compare it to Rising Tide is the way that the barbarians spread. It's that they kind of like trace a path back towards their home base, sort of. So like, if you were to put a new barbarian down in the card that you draw, but there's no barbarian there, you have to find the next closest city that there is a barbarian in. And so it's kind of like it's trickling out like water a little bit. But I really liked it. It's got a great like most pandemics are just like 2 to 5 players, and then technically you could play solo if you play two characters. But
Hmm.
this one actually has a dedicated solo mode to it,
Hmm.
and it's pretty fun and it works great. So if you're looking for another variant on pandemic, I'd recommend you check out Fall of Rome. It's a lot
Hmm.
of fun.
Neat. I can't wait to try it out too. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So my my group has definitely been pretty opinionated about the games we've tried so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really, really liked Colt Express, for
Yeah.
example, and one they didn't enjoy as much was Masquerade, which I kind of was surprised by, but they didn't
Hmm.
like that one too
Yeah,
much.
that does surprise me too.
But one that we tried and that we have all agreed, and now is, I mean, we're playing it throughout the week now, is the newer Splendor, the one
Oh, the
with
Marvel one?
the Avengers one, yeah.
Okay.
And so we one one night last week, we tried it with one group because we have a bigger group. It's like a total of 8 of us. So we tried it with one group, and then the next time we tried it with the other players. And so we all collectively enjoyed it so much that now we probably have played it. I mean, probably 5 or 6 times just in the
Wow.
last couple of weeks. And I really enjoy it. Especially the way we're doing it. We turn on some music while we play because
Mm.
it's such a relaxing game. I mean, you can definitely add a lot of strategy to it if you want to, but it's just very relaxing playing it, listening to music. We're all just sitting around the table, and we all may have just a drink with us or whatever, and we're just relaxing. And so it's definitely become one of my new favorite games over the last few weeks. Just teaching it and watching them try new styles because
Mm.
I've been very fortunate. I've won almost every time we played.
Well, yeah,
No,
that's like a game that you're really good at.
it's yeah, so I'm like, not to toot my own horn, and I'll probably lose every game from now on. So, guys, if you're listening, I know it's coming, but um, It's definitely been fun to just watch because there are a lot of new strategies to the game that I never thought about as I watch them try to figure out new ways to win. So it's been
Cool.
fun for sure.
That's awesome, and I guess everybody loves the Marvel take on it. Have you talked about like how you feel about the comparison with it and the normal one?
I don't think so. I mean, so the main difference, you're going for 16 points instead of 15.
Okay.
You have to have one of every color, and in the normal game, you don't have to do that.
Right.
You have to have one from the third row. You don't have to do that in the first one. And then they also added Avengers emblems to the top of some of the cards. And
Oh, okay.
if you have the most of those, you get the Avengers. And I don't know what they call those, but if you have the most Avengers, you get 3 points, and then
Okay.
that can move around the table throughout the game depending on who has the most.
Hmm.
And so you have to have once you get all five, and then you get one of the third row, you get an Infinity Stone, and that is your win condition, getting 16 points along with having one of all of the colors as well. So it makes it I in a way I guess it's more challenging, but to me I've enjoyed it a lot more, and maybe that's why I enjoy it more because there's even more structure to it.
Hmm.
With the base one, you kind of can just go in an infinite number of directions. I mean, you could just stay on the first row the whole game, or you could just stay on the second row the whole game, or you can just go for the big cards the whole game if you want. And this one, it kind of makes you kind of have to at least follow some kind of script, and then you can, divvy it from there. So, like for example, in one game, one of the guys took all the purples, and so
Hmm.
we just were out of options there. We couldn't get to a purple or enough purples to get one of the 3 point totals for having purple. And so, like, it was a fight to try to get to the purple to get your win condition. And so that made it just more interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so I like it more, I guess I would say, than the original just for that. There's a lot of elements now that you have to pay attention to because if you can't get a yellow, well, you can't win. Or if you
Right.
can't get an orange, then you can't win. So you got to make sure you get them all. And so it
Hmm.
makes it more interesting, I think.
That definitely sounds more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played Splendor in a while, so that'd be neat to give that a try.
Yeah.
Um. All right. I'll talk about one more. Would you rather hear about solving crime in France in the 1400s
Okay.
or building a zoo in New York?
Wow, those are very, very opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with the solving crime one though. That one sounds fun.
Okay. Seigen, have you heard of a game called Chronicles of Crime?
I haven't.
Okay. So last year or the year before, a game came out called Chronicles of Crime. And this is a crime solving board game and that uses an app. And basically, you have this central area that you're going to use to keep track of items that you discover. And you'll have these locations that you're going to put out on the table. And you're going to have characters come out that you're going to interview. And the way this works is you have your phone. All of these items and locations and people have QR codes on them. So you take your phone, you're going to scan like the QR code to the location you're going to. Boom, you're there.
Hmm.
And then anybody that's you've like a card that you've placed there, if it's a character, you scan the QR code on their card, and boom, now you're talking to them. And so
Oh,
from that point on, everything that you scan, whether it's an item or another person, is like you're asking them about that thing.
mm,
So I'm talking to Mr. Smith, and then I scan this mysterious note that I found, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about that." Um, and so that's basically just the idea. And then you try to gather as much information as you can. You're given like the prompt there at the beginning of what's going on, and then at the end of the game, when think you have all the knowledge that you need, you go and you try to solve the case. And it's just going to ask you a series of questions. And the way you answer them, it's not like multiple choice or anything. You scan, like it's like who committed the crime. You have to scan them, and if you're wrong, they're saying you missed something. Go try again.
mm.
Um, and then, but some of them you can actually get wrong, and then you'll get a point total at the end, and depending on how well you did, they'll tell you, "Oh, you were great. Oh, you were terrible." Um, so the first game that came out was just kind of general, like modern times. Well, then they did like a Kickstarter for these various what they called the Millennium series, Millennium series. So they have one set in Paris 1400s, one I guess America 1900s, and then
Okay.
one set in the future.
Hmm.
And so the only one that's out right now is the 1400 one. And so this one is a standalone game that's got 4 cases and a pretty in-depth tutorial, which is almost like another case. But it's basically the same thing. You're just in France in the 1400s, and you don't have you can't go see like a crime scene technician or anything. Um, but you have a dog. His name is Percival, and he goes around with you, and he can like sniff items, and if he gets on the scent, he might take you to a new location.
Hmm.
It's a pretty innovative and unique game, and I really enjoy it. I actually just did a review of this one, Chronicles of Crime 1400, and I talk about how, if you want to try Chronicles of Crime for the first time, I'd recommend going just with the original first, because it gives you more cases to play with. And so before you go out and try the different themes and spend money on those, you might want to just make sure you enjoy the system first before you branch out and start doing that. So that's my recommendation. But
Interesting.
if
Okay.
if you've played Chronicles of Crime or anything like that, like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, and you like it, you'll probably enjoy this one.
Hmm.
But yeah, that one's from Lucky Duck Games. They were kind enough to send a review copy of this. And like I said, for more details, go check out the review on YouTube for the Lighten Up Initiative.
Nice.
And that's all I got. Let's how about we take a quick ad break? Let me use a different word. Um, that's all I've got. How about we take a quick break and then we'll come right back for a game.
All right.
And we're back.
Hello. We
All
missed
right.
you.
So it's been a long time. We've played this game once, but it's been a long time since we've played it. So I thought we'd bring back the alphabet game.
Oh, the hard one. Okay.
Yeah, this one's tough. And so last time we made it about our epic gaming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This time I want to make it about Christmas in a board gamer's house. So it's Christmas morning or Christmas Day or whatever. What is it like in a board gamer's house?
Okay. Okay.
And the way this works is we are going to go back and forth, starting a sentence with the next letter of the alphabet. Okay? And Seigen, do you have a preference on who goes first?
I will. I'm open to either way. It doesn't help you, I know.
Well, then you go first.
Okay. 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 So this is gonna be interesting. All right. Um, Apple Jacks are the first thing I eat on Christmas morning.
But you can't forget the cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls are always good with Apple Jacks. Yes.
That's crazy. So let's talk about board games.
Every Christmas, I know I'm gonna get at least a few board games.
Few, a lot, many, I don't know. But you're right. Every Christmas is better with a board game.
Games are such an easy gift for friends to buy and for family.
Have you gotten any board games as gifts for your friends and family this year?
I actually have. I am very excited to give them out, actually.
Interesting. Interesting, interesting.
Just a few, though. I don't want to overload anyone, but I am excited to give them out.
Okay. Well, what do you think um, it's like for a board gamer to open a gift on Christmas morning?
Like, I guess the best way I would describe it is like, you know, when you when you get an ice cream and you take that first bite of that ice cream and you're just like, you know, that feeling? I think that's what it's like.
Mmm, that sounds nice. Probably like unwrapping a board game on Christmas morning.
Now, the best part really though is once you get the box open and start to uh poke out the components.
Punching out the pieces is definitely one of my favorite parts of opening up a box of games.
Quite frankly, it's almost as fun as the game itself.
Really, you're really right about that. Um, One of my favorite things about getting new games is not only being able to explore the artwork and the new mechanisms and just having fun, but gosh darn it, I love punching out those pieces.
Still, though, I mean, nothing compares to actually playing the game.
True, true. Tuesday is always a good day to play games, as is any day of the week.
Understatement that almost is, but it's not quite.
Very clever, very clever. But in all honesty, in all seriousness, we know the most important thing about Christmas is getting board games.
With family and friends, they're always good to play and exchange.
Excellent point. You can't go wrong with board games.
You know what? You're right. Board games are definitely one of the best parts of Christmas.
Zowie couldn't have said it better than myself.
That's a
As
tough one. That's a tough one.
I need to make a list of a bunch of X words and Z words
You're right. You can
for
say that
when we
again.
play that game.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, good job. You did a great job.
Yeah, you too, man.
Okay. Oh, oh, did you hear that?
What?
Somehow Google thought I said her name, so she just talked about how much of a good job I'm doing.
She just wanted to say hello, you know,
Apparently.
just checking in.
Okay, well, I had an interesting idea of something to talk about on the show. I've This is the time of year where you come across a bunch of like, get these games for these people, and these are recommendation of the games to get this type of person. And sometimes they're good um, resources, but sometimes they're not as good. And so I came across one. Now this came out originally published of January last year. It looks like they updated it in April to kind of be a little bit more relevant to the pandemic and being stuck at home. But this is from the Today Show, actually, today.com. And let me pull this up here. It's called Board Games for Adults, featured on Today. So keep that in mind as we go through this list. Seigen, I'm just going to get things started off right here with number one. Number one, they say, is Twister Scrabble. The selling point here is this game combines two fan favorites in one. You spell words on a giant mat filled with letters and watch your friends get tied up. Literally. So as a just a short note here, we do not endorse nor do we hate Today. This is a very neutral sharing of this article. Again, it's on to the Today Show, today.com if you want to see it. I'm giving them all the credit here. We didn't write this. But we just want to kind of report on it. So yeah, that's a great way to start off this list. Twister Scrabble. You see anything on there that stands out to you?
I mean, I mean, of course, one of the classics, number three, Monopoly Speed. I mean, they found a way to change it and, make it a little bit faster. So, uh,
It
uh, Monopoly is a timeless game that will keep people busy for a couple of hours on end. But, sometimes it just takes too long. With this version, you can do it in 10 minutes. I mean, Monopoly is just such a classic, right? I mean, you got to find a way to get it to the table, and well, with the speed edition, it looks like you can do that. So,
well, let me ask you something now. If you're condensing Monopoly to just 10 minutes, how is that? Is it still going to be any fun?
right? Isn't that part of the fun of the game that you're like going through so many times, and getting stuck in
Well,
jail and doing all of that?
well, the author of this article, either Cameron Lasala or Megan Foster, they both co-wrote this article. According to them, you can finish Monopoly Speed in just 10 minutes without forfeiting any of the excitement.
Hmm. Wow.
I don't know, like, when I see the title, and I don't normally think this way, but when I see Monopoly Speed, I think it has, because, like, you see Star Wars Monopoly
Mm,
or,
right.
Avengers Monopoly.
Right. Right.
I see Monopoly Speed, I think it has to do with, like, you're trying to sell drugs.
Right.
So it's like a monopoly
Or
where
it's
like
themed off of the. Isn't there like a movie with Keanu
yeah,
Reeves and Sandra Bullock where they're like on the bus trying to get? Maybe the
yeah,
theme is that. It's,
yeah. So yeah, interesting. Okay. So there are 20 things on this list. We don't have to go through all of them. Next one I want to talk about is here's another game mashup. All right, number 6. Candyland Connect 4.
who is sitting around their house thinking, you
This
know,
okay, this is a show idea. We're going to do our own board game mashups and we're going to come up with new games that combine two games.
okay,
Board. It's gonna be a serious thing, or in most likelihood, not serious.
right,
Board game mashups. Okay. So this Candyland Connect 4, it says it's made for ages 6 and up, so there's a plus.
hmm
Um, yeah, combine the strategy used in Connect 4 with luck involved in Candyland, and you'll have everyone wanting to play another round. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Um, who who doesn't love Candyland and Connect Four?
But again, who was sitting around their house thinking, what would just make this experience even better? Let's just smash them together. Let's just do them both at the same time. Like what? Oh man,
Yeah.
the things you find on lists like these. Let's see.
This looks. You go ahead, but if you don't talk about this one, I'm going to
Then you
because it
will.
looks like a real winner. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one that catches my eye, and this is they broke this article up into different sections. So
hmm
this section I'm in now is the social board games for adults section,
Yeah.
and the
Well, so
one,
first of all, mind you, this is a list for adults, and we just talked about Connect Four and Candyland.
yeah, games we were all playing at 4 and 5 years old, but it's
Yes.
fine. The next one that catches my eye is number three on this part of the list, the
Mhm.
Pass the Pig dice game.
Oh, I
It
see
is.
that.
It says it is not exactly a board game. So first of all, why is it on a board game list?
Yes.
But second of all, it says it's a great addition for your collection, and you toss pigs and gain or lose points depending on how they land. The first person to 100 points wins the game. While while the game is fun on its own, you can make it more fun by adding cash to it as well.
Well, isn't that the case with any game?
I mean, honestly, like, first of all, you've already lost me because you said it isn't a board game. But I don't I don't even know. It's the description almost said it all.
hmm
What a list we're going through.
Yeah. I don't think it's as good as Drinkapalooza board game. I don't want to talk about that one though. The one that caught my eye is Party Bowl party game.
Oh.
This is literally You can do this at home. You don't need to buy this game. First of all, it's bound to become an instant hit. But here's the extent of the game. Players split into two teams, come up with words about themselves based
Mhm.
on cards, and put them in the party bowl. Then each team tries to guess the person behind the cards. That's it. That's all there is to it.
That's it. That's all we
That's
got.
it. Yep. Of course, there's always adult charades because it's the perfect way to get people out of their comfort zone.
Oh, hey, again, another game you don't have to buy because you you
Yes, that's true.
you can do that on your own. You don't need a board game for it. But anyway,
Mm. What else do you see interesting?
so I mean, they put some classics on here. And this is another section of this list, the critical thinking board games for adults. And I had to point out Clue. Now, this is Clue, the Game of Thrones edition. So, I mean, to all my Game of Thrones fans out there, maybe you like it just because it is Game of Thrones. But, I mean, for me, Clue is not a game that I would consider
Yeah.
a very, very critical thinking game. Uh, and I mean, it doesn't seem like it looks like they haven't changed too much of the rules of it. They just put the Game of Thrones title over it. And if you love Clue, I am and still love Clue. I'm not trying to take any shots or
Mm.
anything, but I mean, we are into a little bit of a deeper, more sophisticated board game here.
All right, yeah. So if you want to check out this list, just go to today.com and search for board games. And the title is 20 boredom busting board games even adults will love.
With a board game on the list that literally says, "Hey, by the way, this isn't a board game." What else do you do? And then two games that we pointed out that you don't even need to buy.
Yep. Well, that's fun. That was some nice little bit of entertainment there.
Definitely, yes.
All right. Well, I thought, and we both thought, that we could talk about. So the year's wrapping up, and we've had some highs, some lows of 2020,
Yeah.
and we don't want to talk about those lows. We're just talk about some highs. So
Yeah.
we're going to do our top 5 games and or experiences of 2020 because it's impossible to play all the games that came out this year. But we have played some of them that came out this year. So we're focused more on the game and how much fun it was necessarily than the year it came out. But all of mine came out this year.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so since I went first in the alphabet game, you should start us off, sir.
Okay. So I wrote down my list. I didn't rank it. I should probably do that. Okay. Number 5 is this is kind of a recent on my radar kind of thing. Is My City. Now this is a legacy game from Reiner Knizia, which is he usually does like thinky or not necessarily thinky, but just real strategic, dry, themeless games. And this one isn't any different really, but it's a legacy game, and so the way it works is it's like a polyomino style game where you're laying down tiles and trying to fit them around and lay them down in a certain way. But at the end of each episode that you play, you're going to get stickers and you get to adjust your board that you're playing on. You might get new pieces to play. And some things are starting. When we first played the first 3, it was just kind of like, this is neat. But as we're getting into it and opening more and more envelopes and more and more things are being added to the game, it's starting to get interesting. And I'm enjoying doing that with Laura.
Nice.
And I'm excited to see what's coming next. So I think that's a great option if you wanted to try a legacy game, but not want to get into a huge, like, rules-heavy, like, Pandemic Legacy or something. This would be a great place to start. Or to bring somebody in that you just want to try a legacy game with. I think My City is a great one. So
Nice.
number 5 for me that's just recently jumped onto the list is My City.
Okay. Um, number 5 for me, and we got to keep in mind it's more about the experience than the year the
That's
game
right.
came out for my list specifically. That's who he's talking
I
about
know.
here. So number 5 for me, actually, was from Spencer's birthday party when we played Masquerade. It was
Mm-hmm.
the one, like, everybody that came to the party, I'm pretty sure, I think it was all of us, we all
Yeah.
played at the same time. And so it was already special just to be around everybody, just to
Me. Be around me.
just to take that moment in, with the way the year has gone, just to take that moment in was special. But I have to say, it was one of the most enjoyable board game experiences I think I've ever had, just because, I mean, everybody was just so into it. And, like the cards were switching so quickly, we couldn't tell who anybody was. And I think I just wanted that game to go on and on, because it was just so. And, everybody was putting on character voices, and
Mm,
we just couldn't stop laughing, and I loved it. So that's number 5 in terms of experience this year for me.
that's a good one. I mean, I always have a great time with that game. Everyone always loves it. It's such a winner, and it's not one that people talk about a lot.
Right?
So Masquerade, guys, you need to get that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I think next for me will be. I hope I'm not taking this away from you. So if I am, sorry. But next for me is Unmatched, Cobble and Fog.
Okay.
Was that on your list?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, we can talk about it more. We'll talk about it whenever it gets to you on
Okay.
your
Okay.
list. Okay.
All right.
So what's your number 4?
Okay. So number 4 for me, and we've only played this game a couple of times so far, but I liked Quacks of, I don't know the last name of it, but I like that game a lot.
Quedlinburg.
Yes, I can't pronounce words like that, but it's fine. So I really like that game a lot. I like how simple it is to start with. Like, it didn't
Mm-hmm.
take us long to get going. I like the upgraded components that you guys had with it. I liked how it had a built-in way to keep the player that's in last place in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the scoring system. I liked the way you went around to get your points to buy things with. I like how that expanded throughout the game. I just thought it was so neat watching it grow as the turns went on,
Mm-hmm.
and as you went around to score your points. I definitely would recommend that one to anyone, that's a board game fan. And I think that may have come out this year, so maybe
No,
I'm no.
2018.
Oh, geez. Okay, I'm probably not gonna get 2020 at all, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get
Cobble
closer at least.
Cobble and Fog came out this year,
Oh, okay. Well, there
so
you
you at
go.
least got one.
There we go. There
And
we go.
I'm sure you've got another one or two on here too.
I think so. We'll see. We'll see.
I have a feeling we might have two more games that are crossed over.
Probably.
Um, my number 3 is Gloomhaven: Jaws of the Lion.
Nice.
Um, Laura and I finished our campaign 2 weeks ago, I think. Like we played it a lot, and then we slowly but surely like stopped playing it to where there was like 2 months, but since the last time we played it, and finally Laura was like, "We need to get back into this." And the reason why I wasn't so excited about it at the time was like, there's kind of a lot of upkeep where you got to get a bunch of stuff out. You've got to keep track of these monsters and their stats, and um, you've got to set up all this stuff, and then sometimes the game can get pretty difficult. And so I was like, all right, here's the deal. We're going to do this to have fun. We're not going to do this for like, notoriety or anything. So we broke it out and we lowered you can raise and lower the difficulty in this game, really well. And so we just put it on easy and we had fun killing monsters, and maybe there were times it was way too easy for us, but I don't care. We had fun. So it was a neat story, great game. I see why people like Gloomhaven so much. And if you're interested, Seigen, I can actually reset this whole game, and you can play it with some people if you want
Well, that I'm always
it.
raring to try some new things. So yeah, definitely.
Cool. So that's my number 3.
Okay. So number 3 for me, and I don't know if this is a crossover for us or not. But number 3 for me, and I it did come out this year. I know it did. Was Fort.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you talk about it more when it gets up on your list.
Okay. Well, here we are. Number 2 is Fort. Um, it's a good stuff. Um, just played it again recently. Um, when did I? Oh yeah, I played that last week. Played it again, introduced some new people to it, and it was great. It's so much fun.
What a game, man. Yeah.
It's small. Not. It's unassuming, so you don't know what you're gonna get when you play it. It's got a great look. I mean, it's got the same artist that did Root, so and it's from the same company. So you know you're probably gonna get something good, but until you start playing it, you don't quite know how good it is.
Yeah, I mean, I like that there's more than one way to win. So I'm always hooked on that to start with. I like the theme that your friends, if you don't use them, they leave you.
Yeah. Hmm.
That you could throw away your best friends. You know,
You
I'm
could
just
trash
finished
them.
with you. I want somebody else. I just it was just so fun. Like I really felt like a kid on the playground playing it.
Hmm.
And so I would recommend it to anybody. It was a neat experience.
Yeah, for sure.
And so
Um,
number we're at number two, right?
yes. What is your number two?
Okay, number two for me was Unmatched.
Okay.
And I just this experience I'm specifically thinking of was one of the last times we played it. It was you, Laura, and I, and Laura
Hmm.
played two characters, and I think you were Dracula. I think I was
Were you the Invisible Man
maybe
or
I was Invisible Man, and she was Sherlock I,
Jekyll and Hyde?
and Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, and man, it was just a blast, man. Like Laura was coming after us, and we both were so scared for our lives. And
She
it
did not
was
hold back.
no, and she did kill one of us, and I won't say
Me.
who. Oh, okay, well, I
I'll
mean,
own up
yeah,
to it.
yeah, and it was just, man, it was well, and she almost got me too. It was
Yeah.
just so fun. I love. I can't get enough of that game.
Hmm.
Just how thematic it is, just the artwork, just the dream scenarios of these larger than life characters in a fight with each other. It's just
Hmm.
so neat. I want to play the newest version very soon. I want to play every version of it, no matter where it is. It's climbing up my list every time I play it. So I definitely recommend that one.
Did I tell you what the newest version is?
It was Medusa and somebody, right?
No. Little Red
Uh huh.
and Beowulf.
Okay, that's right. Oh yeah, we talked about that because I think it'd be cool with Little Red, but we both didn't know Beowulf well, so I was like, I don't know how I feel about that one, but
Did we
Little
talk
Red would
about
be
it?
cool.
Did we talk about it on the show?
I think we did I think we have before.
Everybody listening is like, you guys talk about the same thing every episode
Ow, get out of here.
because because of I'm today. I'll everybody will be proud and things are gonna get better from here. I'm taking notes. I've got a spreadsheet made out now, so I'm gonna put everything that we talked about, so we don't do it again.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Okay,
Even though
as
we'll
long
still
as
probably do it.
yeah, I will. But cool, good number two.
Okay, and
Yeah, you're right. The whole system. Oh, this is the new thing that you are not aware of. I'm think they just announced 4 new sets, and they're all Marvel characters.
ooh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. So I know one of them at least has Squirrel Girl.
Okay.
I think maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. The important thing is if you like the Avengers, Marvel, whatever, you've got stuff coming your way.
Right, yeah.
S-
Something to
s-
check out, that's for sure.
I wonder if we have a shared number one.
Do you want to go first or
You go first.
okay? So number one for me for 2020, and I think I could be wrong. I think this one came out this year too. But number one for me was the Lost Ruins of
Lost Ruins of
Arnak.
Arnak.
Yeah, I, I just, I couldn't stop smiling. Have you ever played a board game and you just sat there and you just couldn't, you just like a kid in a candy store. There's just so much glee, just so much joy. there aren't enough words, and I don't want to try to give it words to take away from the experience. That's how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I just would say go get it, go buy it, go play it, and get with some of your best friends and just have a great time.
Or get by yourself because it's got a great solo mode.
Yeah.
I'm normally not a fan of like custom made solo modes because they're so they introduce so many new rules, but this one doesn't, and it's so good. Yeah, I echo everything that you just said. Um, there are a lot of people. I mean, this one is on a lot of people's list for this year. A lot of people really love it as much as we do. Now,
Oh,
there are some that are just kind of like indifferent to it, and that's fine.
right.
Um, no one faults them for having poor taste, but no, it's a great game, and it's one that some games are like, yeah, I like that, but I could go a couple months without playing it again. But this one's like, I could play this, tomorrow, and then Seigen, you come down next weekend, you want to play this? All right, let's play it again. Like, I don't feel like it's something I'm gonna get tired of anytime soon.
Right. Yeah, I mean, every once in a while you just come across a game, and I've been very fortunate to come across a few that I just throw my hands up.
Yeah.
What an experience every time, and that's why I can't wait to try it again,
Hmm.
because the first time was just so good that I just can't wait to see how good it is again.
Yeah, you need to play it with another person, one or two more people too, so it's not just two player.
Right, definitely.
Um, but yeah, well, cool, good list. Got some good picks on there. 2020 is going to be memorable for a lot of reasons.
Oh yeah, you can
Um,
say that again.
and thankfully, some of those reasons are our board game experiences.
Right.
Okay, well, I think that's all we've got to talk about on the show today. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap things up?
Well, no, I think we just about covered it all for the day. I just want to say though, for everybody out there, that I hope you guys have a great Christmas, a safe Christmas. That if you're going to see your family, that you enjoy your time with them. I know I can't wait to see mine again, and this has been a year where I think we all are realizing what's truly important, and family and friends, and I'll say it here, board games
Yeah.
are all things that are really that really bring people together, um, and are something that I know I cherish for sure.
Yeah. Well, and definitely, we want to wish everybody happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Hanukkah was just the other day, and got all kinds of holidays. So, whatever you celebrate, we wish you a happy season for you. And for those that aren't able to go see their families for whatever reason, hey, hope this episode is helping you lighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing that I find that can sometimes be maybe not necessarily intimidating, but might take me a little bit of effort to make myself do it, is just to reach out to somebody on social media, like somebody you don't even maybe like somebody you follow that you don't normally reach out to, or like if you're normally a lurker, you just consume the social media, you don't actually post. If you reach out, tag somebody, just start up a conversation, say, hey, have you played this game, or tag us. You can tag either Board Games AF on Twitter or hey underscore lighten up on Twitter. Um, we'll be happy to respond. We'd love to engage in a chat with you. So don't be alone. There are plenty of ways you can um, enjoy the company of others this season, even if you may not be able to be there physically with somebody else.
Right.
And apparently, everybody else had other things better to do tonight than show up watching the show because we don't have any comments. But it is Friday night, and it's usually a very low key night for, um, live stream type stuff. So, if you are listening to this as a podcast, we'd love it if you tuned in next time we recorded live. Segan, I think tentatively, if we go by our normal, no, we're supposed to do every other Wednesday. Something came up, we weren't able to do it this Wednesday.
Mm.
So if we do the right way, it should be December 30th.
Okay.
Will be the next Wednesday. Will that work for you that you know of?
Yeah, yeah.
The day before New Year's Eve?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So if you want to join us at 8 o'clock Central Time on New Year's Eve, come help us ring in the new year. Tell us your um, New Year's resolutions that you're going to give up on. Um,
On January 2nd.
yes, exactly. Cool. All right. Well, I've got nothing else to say. How about you, man?
Um, well, no, I think we've just about said it all.
Okay. Other than, hey, everybody, don't forget that no matter what happens, no matter what kind of year you've had, no matter how many people yell at you and call you names,
Hmm.
what really matters is that board
Board
games
games
are
are
fun.
fun.
There we
I
go.
think we did it.
It was off, but that's okay.
Well, we're trying. We're trying. All right, guys.
All
Yeah.
right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great holiday season.
All right.